Hello, good afternoon. I'm Peter Reese for Western New York Reach. Today's presentation is the Great Cattaraugus County Kitty Rescue or Cat Rescue. We've got on board with us today Cattaraugus County legislator and lawyer premier Ginger Schroeder. Also, Jamie Lawrence, who is the head of, and give me the correct name, Jamie? Cattaraugus County, or
Jamie?
Cat County Cat Nippers.
Cat County Nippers.
Cat Nippers.
We lost audio again.
No, we'll have it right back. It should be back now.
All right.
It's back.
Tell us who you are. What's your charity?
I am the president of Cat County Cat Nippers, a TNVR group that was established in 2018 to help with the overpopulation of feral cats all throughout Cattaraugus County. I've expanded into many counties since then, but my concentration is usually Cattaraugus County.
Okay. Ginger and Jamie initiated this activity, and I'm now just gonna turn it over to you guys. I think Ginger, it came to you first because you're a legislator. Tell us what happened, how you guys organized, and where we went from there.
Sure. So our dispatch in Little Valley for 911, which is the Cattaraugus County Sheriff's, received a telephone call about a large number of cats in a house. A neighbor who had gone to look in the house because he had not seen any activity, and apparently saw numerous cats. I think he counted at the time 10. We later learned, of course, there were far more than that. And he was very concerned because he saw dead cats, and he believed that the cats were eating, the live cats were eating the dead cats, and they looked very, very sickly. So I called the person I always call when there's a cat problem, my friend Jamie Lawrence, cat lady extraordinaire, who has helped with just an astounding number of rescues and all sorts of related issues, taking literally hundreds upon hundreds of cats and taking care of them. So I called her, and she came to my rescue.
So now you guys organized a group, and those people came from far and wide. Jamie, give us some names and where they're from if you can recall them, and if we miss somebody, sorry to insult you, but everybody who showed up was a hitter. Clearly, you assembled a 400-hitter team.
Well, working with Ginger is usually a flawless effort. She does rescue all throughout the county, large animal, cat. Ginger's there for the SPCA. I know they appreciate it. I appreciate all the work she does. I had assembled a team of people that we've utilized before. Ginger and I did a rescue in South Dayton a few years back, at which point we brought in Sue Joels. She accompanied us with this rescue, and of course, our big rescue last year was at a farm in Randolph. So we had Sue Joels, Christine Ralph, Jen Stedman, her husband Bill, of course you and Ellen, myself, Ginger. Let me think who else was there.
But we had people from multiple counties. I think
Oh, yeah.
Sue is from
Multiple
Gowanda. We're from Buffalo.
Mhm.
You're from the
Yeah.
grand city of Cheektowaga. So people came from far and wide, and it was a team of hitters.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point, why don't we just cue up that first video, Peter, the calm before the storm.
Yes, sir. Coming up. One moment.
Lovely sunny day. We were standing around outside, and it kind of reminded me of the situation you get, when you're about to go into battle or whatever. You've all got a plan, we've got it all together, and everybody's happy. So let's show that part of it.
And I was admiring their Christmas lights, and I noticed his house was dark. So I called the sheriff, and they came, and he had fallen.
Oh, Lord.
Now that's a neighbor, I assume,
I guess he's going.
correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
And he's talking to Sue Joels there.
Who's not going to throw up for...
Okay, I've got thieves oil. Anyone want thieves oil for their...
See, we're talking about throwing up already.
They take the dead ones away.
There's a deputy sheriff there to assist.
Emancipated cats times 20. We have cats with a head tilt that can barely walk.
Okay.
And
sit well, but what are you gonna
Right.
do?
So
Does,
can erase stuff.
We're gonna do whatever we have to do now.
what was their demeanor? How were they acting?
I got a dead skunk.
They're coming to the middle of a room, so I feel that we need people that can really handle cats. So, you know the routine. I have my gloves.
Yeah, I got my gloves.
We'll go in with some care, as quiet as can be. They haven't seen people in 2.5 weeks and they don't know. Go in with some wet food, try to lure them into the. So we do it over equipment first. Yeah. And our food and
Anyone want feed oil for your mask?
yeah.
Yeah, it'll help.
And Ginger,
doing, Peter?
howdy. Authority underwater. You here for SPCA or what? I mean,
So I'm
how
actually,
are we doing this?
I'm actually, as you know, a county legislator. Thanks for helping me with my race. The sheriffs are treating it as an abandonment case under Article 26,
Got it. So we have the authority to come in and get them.
and
Got
that's
it.
why they're here.
Got it.
He will not be back, as you heard. He's very ill and old, and he's going to be going to a nursing facility.
And you know
so,
what? This is one of those no harm, no foul cases, one way or the other. But
yeah,
you know what?
He doesn't have any.
It's all we need is repercussions later. Somebody say, "Oh, you stole my multi-million-dollar cats."
Right.
All right, good.
Cats that are not doing so well, apparently.
Just wondering. We're gonna try to document whatever we can video-wise.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. Here's some feed oil. How you doing? I could be better.
As you can see, I beautiful, got lovely I day.
got a strong stomach, so.
You put them in your mask.
I'm just doing a little video. Hi, officer. How are you? I'm Pete Reese.
How are you?
I'm a lawyer and I play one on TV, and we're animal welfare people. Thanks for helping out, and we'll do whatever we can, the best we can.
Yep, no problem.
We're from Buffalo, and I'll tell you, every time I come down here, I can't believe how beautiful this country is. Everybody thinks New York State is Manhattan,
Yeah,
you know, and it's skyscrapers. Don't you love it?
What did I,
All right, Peter, we can probably cut that off there.
when I was putting.
That's enough. So we're all happy and having a party, getting ready to go into battle. And as you heard Jamie say, we got to try to be quiet. We're not sure, we don't want to scare the cats, do whatever. Why don't you then cue the next one? I think it's labeled "Oh My God," and I think we'd probably go to free for all from there. I want a video.
Somebody take that.
I got a small one here. It was the one that was in the picture. Okay, there's another one ready right behind me.
So we're getting cats already just walking in the door. Just keep feeding carriers.
Hello, mothers. Hello, sweethearts.
You got it?
How many more rooms out there, dear God?
Can't even get out the door here.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch that so you don't have to.
You gotta love it. I'm trying to get cats out with a pair of pliers. Can't do it. How the hell
Have them
do-
open it from out there, knock on the window. You got it, go, keep going, now pull it towards you, down and, what's that? No, there were 11 they saw.
Get that carrier out of here. There's hardly any room to move in here.
We don't want them to get out the door. 'cause they'll be-
Yeah, I know. You watch the door.
Yeah, just the picture from the other day had 4 or 5 cats.
The real problem is they're fabulous at hiding.
And they're not acting like they're afraid, like they're hiding.
Ugh.
They are disappearing magicians.
They're building in the furniture.
That room is loaded with cats.
Ugh.
Where are they? There were full bags of garbage all over. Ultimately,
Serious breakdown. About
ultimately, we had to move all the bags or lots of bags out.
There's the dead cat they're eating.
Nobody looks out for anybody, and if
Where?
you don't have neighbors that look after
Right
you,
there.
or family that looks after you, there you go.
If you don't have a strong stomach, don't look at this. That's a dead cat.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
All
Ugh.
right, this side room here is going to be a bear. There's garbage bags in there that we probably are going to have to be moving out. So,
We're gonna have to have somebody.
all right, I think that's probably enough of this one, Peter. Why don't we cut this one? I've got one more on the inside. I want to add to this just to give you, we don't have smell-o-vision. The stench inside this room was unbelievable. The next video I want to show you is chasing cats. And it's an example of, unfortunately, Jamie doesn't move as fast as she used to. If you'll see this cat get away, she would have caught
It's
this
all
cat.
my fault.
10 years ago, she would have caught this cat. Go ahead, roll that one, and then
10 months ago.
and then let's just talk
Over
and share
COVID-25.
share some experiences here. But I think you have the flavor of it and the smell of it.
You haven't seen any, Sue?
I lifted up the chair and there were 3. I grabbed one.
One
bolted
scooted.
this way, and the
One
other
scooted.
I don't know where he went.
You see, the problem is just lifting.
They're all under here. Let's just, they're all under here. Okay. It's okay, sweetheart. Don't let it down. That's 5 under there. Come on. Come on, sweetheart.
You're
You got any
gorgeous.
carriers in here?
I got
There's
one
2 right
carrier
there.
here and there's another one over here.
We got them right here. Somebody can get to
Pete, you over
that.
here.
I see one there.
Yep. Let me get back here. Come on, sweetheart. Sweetheart.
There's 2. There's a red and
There's a red one.
a tortie. There's a red and a tortie under there.
I'm watching that one.
There's another one there. All right, who's holding the couch?
I'm holding it. I got it. There's one there. That's the head filter.
Watch that cat. See that?
I'll get him.
Come on, Jamie.
And a red right here.
I can at least head them off over here. So here we are herding cats,
Back in
and
the corner. I've stopped them from getting out of here.
I'm trying to play gatekeeper goalie, so I guess we can kill that one too.
Got it?
Wow.
All right, ladies, wasn't that fun to relive?
No,
Tell us about it.
No.
that was
Well,
horrible.
I'm going to have to say the same thing I've said for a week now. It has shaken me to the core to see not only animals living in such filth and such chaos and no food and no water, but a human lived there and nobody did a thing. Wheels on Meals was coming. It was clear to me. I'm trained in geriatrics. They were there. People were there. The mailman was there. The stench of the house you can smell prior to probably about 2 feet away from the house. There was no screen door, only the back door with the pliers. So if Meals on Wheels is coming to the back door and handing over a meal to this individual, somebody has seen something and done nothing. Also, I noticed the gentleman's car was in the driveway, which was indicative to me that he left with first responders. So first responders, upon coming inside there and seeing this filth and seeing the feces and seeing these cats and dead cats and cats, malnourished and dehydrated, chose to just close the door and leave. I've been investigating it with the Cattaraugus County Health Department and Social Services Department, and as soon as I have a resolve, which I hope is this week, I plan to move forward with that because this cannot happen in the United States of America. We have failed this individual as a human being, and we have failed these animals drastically. And don't think rural area in that there's no neighbors. There are very close neighbors there in very close proximity. So
Yeah.
I'm forever changed because of it. I will say that.
Ginger, you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, it was pretty much the worst thing I'd ever seen in all of my years of doing rescue, whether it be large animal or small animal. And as Jamie said, just the fact that you knew that it wasn't just cats living there, that the human was there. We didn't have a working toilet. The water wasn't very good. Obviously, you said it, Peter, you could not, you can't even describe the smell until you're in it. And it really was nauseating. And to try to get all of those poor animals out of there, they had been living. Can you imagine the ammonia, the buildup of the ammonia in their lungs, and for a human too. So I echo Jamie's sentiments with respect particularly to EMS, because as you might know, I'm an EMT, and I can tell you that I am often going into homes, and it is pretty frightening how a lot of people do live. There's a whole marginal people who are just barely making it, and they sometimes live in conditions that are they're just untenable. And someone had to, my understanding was this gentleman fell. And a neighbor hadn't seen the car move, and the lights had been on, and the neighbor came over and saw that, found out that he had fallen. Don't know how long he had been there on the floor by himself. And here, clearly we have EMS. I know we would have been required to go in and pick him up. Where were these people? Who made a report? No report. Just awful.
And one of the things, I want to make sure that we keep a positive note here, and we don't intend to blame this individual. Obviously, the animals are blameless.
No, absolutely not.
The cats didn't do anything wrong. The cats just were cats.
Mm-hmm. This was a geriatric individual. As Ginger said, he fell. I'm sure there were some precursors to the fall. He was left alone probably at a time that he should not have been left alone. And this happens, and there's no blame. We just need to, if we see something, we need to say something.
And
reach out to a higher authority.
We need to fix this. Now, the analog to this that it comes to my mind, Hurricane Katrina, apparently hundreds of people died because they didn't evacuate because they wanted to save their animals. We've learned that modern disaster evacuation preparedness involves accommodating people leaving with their companion animals. Now that we see this, it seems to me, this is a lesson for New York State. Though this is a poorer area, this is a very wealthy state. New York State probably has more money than, certainly not California, but probably comparable to Texas and many other states put together. We've got to come up with a better way to deal with this. There's just no two ways about it, from both the human and the animal point of view, and probably most importantly from the human point of view. And just as a side note, I've represented animal hoarders. I don't think this gentleman was an animal hoarder. He got in a little over his head, but I've seen 100 cats in a place this big, and they're not bad people. They try to do the right thing. They start out properly, and they get in over their head, and they don't know what to do. And that's why I'm a no-kill proponent, because if you can say to them, none of these animals are going to die, you can let them go. It's an awful lot easier. Peter, have we got a phone call-in line?
Yeah, we do. Let me get that hooked up for you. 716-359-6170. And I'm just going to connect that in now. We are connected onto the system. And if you want to call in, 716-359-6170. And I'll put it up here on the screen as well.
And how about an ad again for Cattaraugus County Nippers, and why don't you tell us how we can contribute to your organization?
Well, let me give everybody an update first of all on where the cats are. We removed 19 cats last Saturday. I should say 13 on Saturday, and then a few were trapped outside the home on the property. They were all brought to a warehouse space that we're renting in Hamburg. They were seen immediately by a veterinarian. Most were given fluids. We did a quick intake of their weight and dental check. Let them decompose for a few days, and then address whatever illness may have developed. We did lose 2 this past week. I think that's a pretty low number considering the circumstances of the body condition of these cats. They've each been to see a vet. Some more will see a vet again this afternoon. We have volunteers that come in around the clock. Ellen and Peter are one of them. Angie Rolla, Jim Schneider, myself. If we go there, we feed them small amounts of food. Their body conditions, as I mentioned, is poor. They need bathing, they need care, they need to trust humans again. We hope to have them all moved into fosters over this upcoming weekend so that they can be in someone's home and begin to trust again. We have had one that had a blocked urinary tract that was opened. We're keeping our fingers crossed on that. Many different organizations here that assisted. Operation Pets has provided us with service this week for the ferals. Dr. Kim Parkhill of Green Acres has been on standby all week, taking cats in the best that she can. Dr. Fisk has been very helpful with the program as well. So it's a very big concerted effort here in Erie County. And as mentioned, our goal is to get them into people's homes this weekend so that they can start reconnecting with humans and trusting humans and begin their new life.
Are you aware of where all the cats are right now?
Oh, I have a running sheet, a Word document.
well,
I have a yellow legal pad.
Look on your screen. Is one of them named Little Star? Because she's
One of
here.
them is named Little Star.
She's here to join the program. She wants to talk about what's going on. A gorgeous little red female, tiny little cat, stick legs. And yet we've got big monster bull cats, and from the safety of her crate, she wants to take them all on. And one of my cats is a big Red Point Siamese. I swear his head is 4 times the size of hers, and she was giving it to him last night. She's not going to take any baloney from anybody, and she's going to do fine. It turns out she likes steak. Which, is quite a surprise. And she actually has gained subcutaneous resilience. She actually is starting to feel a little fleshy. When we first got her, it was scary to touch her. First caller. Who do we have?
Yeah, we got a caller. Hi, you're live on the air with the Wny Reach. Who is this and where are you calling from? Hang on.
Was that for an auto warranty?
Yeah, hang on. Call right back if you don't mind. For some reason it's not connecting in. But
I know my warranties run out. Okay, stop calling me.
I get those calls all the time, Pete.
We all do, and they're all from fake phone numbers too, by the way. They're all locals.
I know.
This is a great cat. She will be fine. We're fostering her, Ellen thinks.
Hi, can you hear us? Hang about. Having some issues here with the, there it is. Okay. So who's on the line? Where are you calling from?
It is Abraham Nasser, and I am calling from the great city of Lackawanna.
Ah, America's neighbor to the north.
Where?
Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. Exactly.
All right.
So I just had one question.
Well, wait a minute. Before we go on, are you a law student?
I am. Well, supposedly I'm going to law school in Columbus, Ohio.
Where?
Supposedly.
What school?
Capital University Law School.
Okay. How is your football team doing this year?
I don't follow this. I don't follow that, so I'm not really sure.
I don't think you have one. And just so you know, UB Law School's football team was ranked 28th the last time I saw. So there. Go ahead, Abraham.
All right. So my question is, I think Jamie kind of touched on this a little bit. How does something like this happen in the United States of America, one of the richest countries, if not the richest country in the entire world? How does something like this, what failed? What system failed? And what can we do, outsiders like me, do to make things better for these kind of animals?
Can I try one thing here? There's something that's peripheral. It used to be you had a mailman who stuck on your route, and the mailman knew that Mr. Johnson or Mrs. O'Malley lived somewhere. And if Mr. Johnson didn't pick up his mail every day out of the box, or if it started to pile up, they'd know something was wrong. And mailmen, they'd call authorities. I mean, the mailmen were part of the community. Today, unless you're lucky, your mailman kind of circulates around, and they're sort of considered to be interchangeable pegs in a wheel. And I think we lost a benefit that we never appreciated because somehow or other we had to make the post office more efficient. But that was part of the social safety net. Perhaps unrecognized and unappreciated, but it was. It's hurt. I don't think there's any question about it. Go ahead, guys. Jamie, what do you think?
I think that, as we all know, communication amongst friends, neighbors, families has dissipated as far as hands-on contact. It's done via cell phone, Facebook, things of that nature. I understand that this gentleman had some pre-existing conditions. At one time lived in a home with a bare ground floor. No floor, actually, I should say dirt. And the community came together and built him that home, which was very reputable and I'm sure very much appreciated. But along with the geriatrics, there probably were some mental health issues. And although he didn't see living in these type of conditions probably is a harmful thing, there must have been other people along the way that did. But we've become a society where we don't want to be bothered, or the not in my backyard syndrome, or all these things have developed, when in fact, we as humans have failed this man. And it's unacceptable is the bottom line.
You're correct, and it's my understanding that if the gentleman who lived in the neighborhood hadn't contacted somebody, these cats would still be there.
That's correct.
And it's hard to believe that there'd be many left. Our rescue was what?
We would have been too late. I mean, Jamie, how many cats of the cats that you pulled out? How many actually weighed over 3 pounds?
2, 3.
Yeah, I mean that's just.
And 1 week later, 1 week later, a majority of them have put on 2 ounces, and that is with small feedings all throughout the day, sub-Q fluids, and regular intake of fluids.
No, it's going to be a long road. You think too, one of the issues here with this gentleman was that, we're kind of in a perfect storm with COVID. So you had all of the isolating circumstances that you noted before, and it's very true that we're becoming more distant from each other. But then you add people being told to stay away from each other for legitimate public health reasons. And that makes it even more difficult.
You raise a very good point, though. Perhaps we should raise our awareness level during COVID because of the isolation, because it puts people more at risk. And, if people get anything out of this program, maybe that's the most important point. Maybe you need to pay more attention to your neighbor now. You don't necessarily go out for a beer with them, but it's a good idea to be paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah, just checking on people. Absolutely.
Now, is Abraham still with us?
Abraham's still with us on hold. We've also got another caller coming in. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Maximilian Tresman. Peter asked me to call in.
And you got Peter on the line, Max.
Max,
oh, very good.
You're another lawyer, huh? Is that all we're going to have on this show is lawyers and Jamie and a cat?
I guess it is. Who's got the poop hat?
This is the international symbol. It's mine. It's the international symbol of cat rescue. And, the Rangers run to the sound of the guns. Firemen run to the fire. We run to the smell of the poop. Okay? So this is the official hat of Cat Rescue.
Oh, Lord.
And Ellen, when she first bought it for me, told me it was a custard hat. And I wore it for a month or so before I realized that it was a poop hat. And it was very embarrassing once I figured out. But that's what this is about. And if you were inside that place, I mean, we were ice skating on poop, aluminum cans and whatever. And it's hard to describe. And I'll bet that Jamie and Ginger and the other people there are suffering from PTSD because I know I am.
Seriously.
And
so
Max, you do elder law, correct? Is that?
Uh-oh.
I think Max is back on the line. Are you there, Max? Hang about.
I know one of Max's specialty is elder law, and perhaps he can give us some insight
There he is. You're back, Max.
Sorry, I got disconnected somehow.
Anyhow, Max, from the point of view of your elder law practice, do you have some insights for us?
Yeah, I do. A couple of things that are concerning about this case, and I'm really not familiar with the specifics, but from what you have told me about what happened with this guy and the animals, this is a real ongoing problem in a bunch of cases where people become incapacitated. The only recourse we have when somebody is unable to care for themselves, manage their affairs, or manage whether it's personal needs or financial needs, is to bring an Article 81 petition.
What does that do, Max?
Well, that's to an Article 81 petition is a petition point the guardian, and generally that works fairly well, but it's not immediate. You have to do it.
What does a guardian do?
A guardian is a person that takes care of the personal needs or financial affairs of another individual, and that person is only appointed as a guardian when the court determines that a person is unable to understand the nature of their circumstances, and that without the appointment of somebody else to manage their affairs, that they'll be injured either physically, mentally, or financially.
So at some point, an 81 guardian would have been of assistance here, one would think.
At some point, but probably not for a while, because with the way that you bring the petition, it is a special proceeding, but they still have to appoint a court evaluator, somebody to visit they call them the alleged incapacitated person, or the AIP. The evaluator has to make an appointment. They have to review the medical records. This takes weeks. What you can do is ask the judge to appoint a temporary guardian when they sign it. But here's the problem in a situation like your case or many other cases, is that it's not going to be immediate. Sometimes elderly people require immediate attention because they're leaving the stove on, there's a carbon monoxide problem, and the only recourse is for the family or those concerned about that person to call Adult Protective Services. And they just don't have enough people to handle the intake that they have. They're very good, they're very dedicated people, but there's not enough to handle all of the problems as people are getting older, and we're becoming an older population with people living longer. So something is going to have to be done at the state level, either to make the appointment of a temporary guardian easier or expand the budget for Adult Protective Services. Otherwise, people are going to get really injured at some point. I can see that happening easily.
Okay, and has COVID made that worse?
Oh, absolutely.
So that perhaps the need during pandemic, and we really don't know how long it's going to last. Maybe that's an unmet need that state and county and local governments have got to step up to handle at this point in time.
Yeah, I will say that the Erie County Legislature takes this very seriously, but in all honesty, their budgets are everything is stretched right now, and we're going to be in a real crisis mode next year. Older people are much more likely to have a significant number of animals because they've taken these animals under their care in their retirement, and they really love them, but a lot of people get to the point where they simply can't handle it anymore, and you wind up with a situation like you did in Cat County. I was involved with bird rescues earlier in my life, and parrots are extremely long-lived animals. Cookie, the cockatoo, just died at, I think he was 85 or 86 at the Brookfield Zoo. They don't really know how old he was because he was wild caught back in the 20s. And you'll see people 50, 60 years old take on a cockatoo, and when that person's 100, that bird is just knocking on middle age.
All right. Max, can we do animal trusts in New York State?
Absolutely.
Okay, we can. Have you ever seen one?
Yes, I have. I've made them for people who have parrots.
Good for you, because the next one I see in an appropriate situation will be the first one. They've been available for at least 20 years now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This actually is unfortunate. You actually can set up a trust for your pets and put. Well, what is there a limit on the amount? The last time I looked, it was about $10,000 you could throw in to a trust account.
I think it's about $10,000, but I gotta be honest with you here. I think that there's an argument to be made that animals being treated as chattel under the law, as bad as it sounds, you should be able to put up a trust just as your property and name somebody you care about as the trustee, and the animal should be able to be placed into trust.
I don't disagree. I mean, if legally we treat cats or dogs like they were toasters, and if that's what we're going to do, why shouldn't you be able to put them into your trust? Good point.
So there's a lot of options there. I think people have to have a sense of how long these animals can live, especially cats. Most dogs don't make it past 11, 12 years unless they're little.
It depends on the size. The bigger dogs, smaller dogs last longer, but not uncommon for a cat to live to be 18 to 20.
Yeah, so if people are going to take on all of these cats, then they should be responsible enough to think, what's going to happen if I can't take care of these animals? And what can I do? There's a whole lot of options out there. My understanding is that these animal rescues are overloaded, and there's just simply there aren't enough facilities to take care of all these little creatures. So the onus is on you as the animal owner, the pet owner, to make sure that you take care of these creatures. Every scientific study that I've seen in the past few years on animal cognition demonstrates that animals that were perceived to be, I don't, for lack of a better word, dumb, have a better level of information processing, consciousness, and awareness than anybody had ever suspected. So don't we have a responsibility to them, if not legally, at least ethically?
All right.
To make sure they're taken care of.
If I can post and interrupt here, my current wife, she's the beautiful lady on the screen there. And, as in between us, I always adopt the motto myself of I'm not just a pretty face, okay? I want to be thought of as more than that. But Ellen, the beautiful one, just passed me a note. We need the donation information. And Jamie, if you can give us off the top of your head, how much money has this thing cost you so far?
7, 13, right around $2,000 this past week.
That's all. I'm
we
amazed.
We have 6 more cats.
I'm amazed.
Well,
you are very efficient.
I'm frugal.
No, you are frugal and efficient, okay?
Listen, let me say this. I have many, many good people that I've met in my, to call them my friends. I was donated a pallet of litter. That cut down on the cost.
Who donated that?
That's all going to the fosters.
Who donated that?
That was donated by my friend Crystal Frank. And that will cut down on the cost for the fosters. I like to send them all with food and litter, and I don't want them to incur any cost. We have 6 more cats that need to see the full service vet next week. As you know, one can become sick at any minute and have to go see an emergency vet and obtain services based upon whatever their illness is for that day. These cats are by far nowhere near being out of the woods.
Well, if I want to contribute, how do I do it? Do I get on Facebook? Do I send something to PayPal? Do I mail it to you?
My Facebook page is CATT, County Cat Nippers. There's a link on there. You can make a donation through PayPal. No amount is too big or too small. All money goes to these cats. There's no overhead. There's no anything. Somebody mentioned to me, why don't we consider putting some of the cats down? And I said, well, at this current point, we're in survival mode, and we just need to get some weight on them and see how they're going to do. And people have given me money to take care of these cats, and we're going to use every penny of it to make sure that these cats are taken care of. Thank you to those of you that have donated. Thank you very much.
I hate to say this, but I'm brutal and cynical about this. Oh, really? You want to have these cats put down? Go ahead, do it. They want someone else to put these cats down. It's always that way. Someone else needs to kill these cats for me. No, thank you.
It won't be me.
Cats aren't going to be put down. I mean, one of these poor animals didn't even survive the trip from their place of confinement to our triage center. I mean,
Died in my car.
that's how thin their hold on life was. Another one lasted a day or two. I didn't think that one was going to make it through the night. Just did, and just couldn't make it any further. We've still got some that look like they're thin, but they're coming back. Okay, every one of the cats is much better than they were when we first got them. It's clear. So I'm happy about that. But you, just because you're doing this cheaply doesn't mean you don't need donations. So let's get some contributions.
Oh,
from me.
no, like I said, there's 6 more cats to go see a full-service vet. I
Very
mean, just with
expensive.
vaccinations and all that alone, yeah, you're looking at, upwards of $200 a cat. Plus, none of them have been spay or neutered. We have that cost upcoming, but we're looking at that in the future. And the food, like I said, I like to send all my fosters with food. I don't want them to incur any cost, even if it comes out of my pocket. They are the people caring for these cats every day, 24 hours a day, and taking time out of their life. I don't want them to have to worry about anything except the cat.
All right, now I just want to say, Ginger Schroeder has got much tighter time constraints than the rest of us. Most lawyers, by the way, are done with their business by 3 o'clock on Friday, much earlier than that because they're hitting the bars. That's kind of hard in Erie County, but the bars are still open here in Niagara County. So, Ginger, feel free to leave whenever you want. But
I'm not going to a bar, I promise. I promise, Pete.
But you can, as long as you stay north of the canal. Now, I want to give you time, and then then you can take off whenever you feel.
Sure.
Tell us what you think we need to do, and by the way, if you're from Cattaraugus County, vote for Ginger Schroeder next time for whatever.
They have to be in Legislative District 3, but I'd like to send out a thank you, obviously, to Jamie. I don't know what honestly Cat County would do without her, and it's not just cats. She'll pretty much come and help with absolutely any kind of problem we have when it comes to animal welfare, and she's an invaluable resource. I also want to thank the Sheriff's Department. I think that the Cat County Sheriffs have been really tasked with a bit of an overwhelming problem. Cattaraugus County is probably, the second or third poorest county in New York State. We have more than our fair share of poverty. We do have a lot of animal welfare related issues, and the Sheriff's Department has been tasked with trying to deal with this, and on top of their already fairly significant caseload of other types of criminal actions. And I just have to send a shout out to Deputy Heather Price and Zachary Eaton, who kind of spearheaded, who saw this problem and called in experts and provided that kind of support. I think obviously all counties, and your other caller kind of, I think, put his finger right on it. Everyone's going to be suffering financially in the upcoming year. There's very big concerns, particularly for eleemycinary and philanthropic organizations, about whether or not they're going to be funded appropriately. The state's in a huge deficit. I know in Cat County, as a legislator, we've been looking at our budget, and we've already spent monies. Every dollar that comes into our legislature, 69 cents of it is in an unfunded mandate. So we're looking at shortfalls, budget shortfalls, if we don't get funded for Medicaid, and that's just going to hurt who? It's going to hurt the children, it's going to hurt the poor, the impoverished. Those are the people who are going to suffer the most from the loss of services. So we have a very large hill to climb here, and we have to do it, all together, linked arm to arm.
Are you trying to imply that not all cops are bad and maybe we shouldn't defund them all? Is that what you're trying to say here?
You would have to take it to a political level, Pete. No.
Just the BLM people out there listening, maybe we don't want to defund all the police.
I have a very fond spot in my heart for the Cattaraugus County Sheriffs. I've really never seen them take a wrong step in the wrong direction. They're there to support our community. They do God's work every day in very trying circumstances, and I tell you, I give a shout out to them.
Yeah, the Sheriff's Department has been there on all the rescues I've been on, with Ginger and without, and I definitely appreciate their services. Sometimes you go into conditions such as the dairy farm in Randolph, where it was very vicarious. The man had been arrested for X, Y, and Z, had a drinking problem, didn't want us on his property that was being repossessed, and at many times I did feel in danger, but the Sheriff's Department was always there, and I appreciate that.
All right, well, I wanted to just point one thing out here. This show is boring, Little Star, and she just fell asleep. So
she's really adorable. No, I asked Jamie if Little Star was the orange cat that bit me in this rescue, and she assures me that it's not.
All right. Now you just
That cat is at Angie's house under lock and key.
you just brought something up. We need to tell some war stories here.
Oh Lord,
okay.
please.
I have corresponded with a childhood friend of Ginger, and I was accusing her of feminine toxicity here. Now here's the situation. She's in a side room with about 3 cats, very confined, loaded with junk, swimming in poop, trying to grab a cat. And I'm the other side of the door because this door has so many holes in it. I'm there with a carrier trying to trap anything that sneaks out under the door. I hear this horrible screaming the other side of the door. And I've been there, done that. She's been bit to the bone, even through gloves. And she's screaming and saying, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." And I'm standing there saying, should I open the door or should I just let her suffer?
I just let her suffer?
And you know what? I didn't do anything because I realized there was no right move. And if she was crazy enough to keep holding on to that cat, which I've done myself, when bit to the bone, she got the cat in the carrier. Okay, well then she goes outside and she's seriously injured and it's her right hand. And she's standing there saying, "I'm fine. I just can't use my hand anymore." And at that point, she was ordered to seek medical attention. And your childhood friend said, "You're a force of nature." And this may not be politically correct, but one tough broad. and that is, I believe that's feminine toxicity. I stayed in that hellhole for a full hour. I mean, I came in and out because I had to move bags of garbage and carriers, but it was worse when you went back in. And that was because I was competitive. And a switch goes off, and as soon as I was in there, I said, "I'm staying in here till the last person is out." And in fact, I pulled the dead cats out. We put them in a bag. We drove home with them, and they've been given a decent burial. And to be quite frank, it was either 3 or 4. And I don't want to remember that or see that again.
Pete, I have to give, enormous props to you because you did stay in there. In fact, I think you're the only person out of the whole team that was able to do it the entire time. And
now, that's toxic masculinity for you, dear.
I went in the first time, and I did have to come out after about 90 seconds because I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it. And I was surprised because I like to think of myself as a tough person, but it was really pretty horrible.
I'd still be in there now if we were there.
Yeah, you would. You're amazing.
I can drive you back down.
No, thank you. By the way, don't be too down on that place. If you're a realtor, that's what they advertise as a fixer-upper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that'll be taken by the county to pay for the nursing home care of the individual that lived there.
And there was some humor in what happened. Another incident. We're in there ice skating on all this junk. There's not an inch you can move. Sometime take 500 aluminum cans and throw them on your kitchen floor. Douse it in water, and then try to move around without making any noise. Aluminum cans make a good burglar alarm. And Jamie said, "Shh, be quiet. We don't want to scare them." And I broke out laughing through my mask in the stench because I said, "What? Huh?
Right.
How am I going to not make noise?" So there were some crazy, incidents and events here. And hopefully with time, we'll get over this. Now, I've got to admit something. I had a crying jag putting up a post on Facebook the other day, and Ellen thought, that she accused me of she accused me that my girlfriend had left me. That's Ellen. That's what she thinks.
There's that.
On that happy note, Jamie, give us a closing line. You're now in charge of the cats. When's the last cat moving out to a foster or whatever?
Tomorrow. The cats will all be out to fosters tomorrow. As mentioned, 6 of them still seek vet attention next week from Dr. Kim Parkhill at Green Acres. We will then work on keeping them healthy and putting weight on them so they'll be ready for spay and neuter, not for adoption. I do have to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, the Cattaraugus County SPCA has stepped up and will take all the cats, so we don't have to worry about finding rescues to intake these cats. So we're thankful to them for that. I would like to hope that we're never presented with another situation like this in Cat County, Erie County, Orleans County, Niagara County, but we will be. And a reminder to everybody, if you see something, please say something.
All right. One closing note, and I think we'll cut it off with this. If somebody wants to adopt one of these cats, how should they contact you? Through Nippers?
They can contact me directly. Join our page at Feral Cat Alliance, or through my County Catnippers page, send a private message. I won't be posting my phone number here, but I'm easily found in the cat world.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Ginger,
you.
Any final, Ginger?
No, just want to say thank you for putting a light on the problem here and having a nice discourse. It's important to get out the message, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap.